All right, we're live on Instagram. We're waiting for Facebook. There it is right there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. You can hear the enthusiasm in my voice of how happy I am that finally, after a year of begging this man to come to the basement, he finally makes it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the incredibly talented Artie Pasquale, ladies and gentlemen. How's that,
what an
huh?
introduction.
That nice?
And this is not just a basement.
This is the basement
This
of
is a
basements.
nostalgic museum of your family, your mother, your grandmother. It's unbelievable what you have.
I'm so glad
Thank you so
noticed.
much for having me.
I'm so glad you noticed everything when you came walking in. Now, we have a history, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't seen each other in quite some time. We talk every once in a while. We see each other from time to time on social media. We have a large amount of friends in common. Yet sometimes entertainers are just working on so many different projects, you don't get to see the guy.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
get to
right.
see your friends all the time.
Yeah, maybe occasionally you might bump into somebody in another project, but yeah, it's a brief relationship. But sometimes it's a very binding relationship.
You know, that's something we can actually start off with. There's something about working on, let's say, a movie or a TV show, or maybe a live performance, that you become family, like in lightning speed. Even if it's an argument, it's family. And then you miss your family.
Yeah, that's true. The Sopranos is a great example of that, but we can talk about that later on if you want. When they talk about family and family.
Yeah, wow. That's
I mean,
a family of all
every
families.
project you really it's a family.
Yes.
Whether it be for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it might be one scene, but then you hang around and it's great. It's just a wonderful relationship. It's unique.
I wonder what that is. It is. It's some kind of a unique thing that makes you bond so fast
Yeah.
that you can almost remember everything as time goes by about the 10 minutes you spent together.
Yeah.
We met a long time ago through mutual friends. I think it had a lot to do with our mutual friend Danny Aiello.
Yeah. I think of him all the time. He was a special guy, as you very well know, and for your viewers, I'm sure they know of him. It's too bad you never met him. Maybe you have met him, but he's just a wonderful, wonderful, down-to-earth guy. Great sense of humor. Love you. Always smiling, laughing, and I became very close with he and his family.
Now, didn't we meet down like on the Jersey Shore when Danny was coming to a show or something? Maybe something to do in Asbury Park.
I think we first met at it was the Garden State Film Festival, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And you were there. I think I was reaching for the shrimp, but you took the last 3 shrimp in the buffet. And that's how we got into the discussion about how much you love shrimp.
Yeah. I love comedy, I really do, because I'm allergic to fish. That never took place. But anyhow, the Garden State Film Festival, which takes place at the Paramount in Asbury Park, New Jersey, it's been around for a long, long time. I don't know how many years. I first got involved because I was hosting some of the awards galas.
Yeah, I do that occasionally. I just did it this past year.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. The girl or woman that was originally, I guess, the president or creator,
Was it Raver?
Diane Raver.
Yeah, nice person. Wonderful.
Diane Raver, she was responsible, maybe still is, putting together one of the greatest film festivals actually in the United States.
Yeah. And I know next time I had seen you was a sad occasion because it was a benefit, so to speak, for Denise Marino, who had played Johnny Sax's wife, a heavyset girl, in the Sopranos, and it was at a club I think in Perth Amboy, someplace.
Yeah.
Perth Amboy, and you were doing your thing there.
I've done a lot of charities. Sometimes it's difficult when they put on a performance for a sad situation and they say, okay, now here's the comedian. They're like, oh, I'll do the best I can. I hope we raise some money. There was a couple of other places down on the Jersey Shore that I don't think they even exist anymore. But I remember seeing you down there. You know, Diane Raver had a very famous husband. He directed a lot of TV commercials.
Oh yeah.
That's actually how I knew Diane Raver, because I grew up as a teenager doing TV commercials, and I worked with her husband many times. He had passed away very young, and that's how I became to know Diane. And then I was performing in Asbury Park, and that's how I get to meet all those people. And I think that's how I met Danny, because he had that place in Hoboken.
Yeah, on Thursdays we used to go. He had a comedy club upstairs. He and his son Ricky used to run it. We would eat downstairs, and this guy Fortunato was the chef. I remember.
Yeah.
It was Tutta Pasta.
Yeah,
Tutta
Tutta
Pasta's his
Pasta.
name. And
Oh.
Danny was gluten free, and we used to we used to have fun all the time because he would just eat this. It would just be chicken, and he had to have the rice a certain way. After a while, I would kid him. I'd say, I think your eyes are getting a little slanted, Danny. I said, give me a whack.
Tutta
But
Pasta.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was fun time.
the memories
Fun
of the
time.
good
It
old
was
days.
always a fun time with him.
Well, let's go.
Then he got into his music, and he did that combo stuff, and
Yeah.
Besame Mucho, and all
Yes, I remember a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back to your beginning, man. Where are you
It's a
originally
long-
from?
it's a
Where
long
you
time.
where you born?
Providence, Rhode Island, an Italian section. As a matter of fact, you had Bruce Socha on recently. It's the same neighborhood. There's an Italian section there called Federal Hill, and then I moved down the road from there. But that's where it was, Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah.
Federal
A
Hill.
lot of Italians.
I was thinking maybe you come from Italy originally,
No, my father did, but I didn't.
but you don't have an accent from Rhode Island at all.
I'll tell you a quick story if you want it about my accent. I did come to Jersey with park the car, and first you got to go to church. But then I developed, really quickly into this whole Jersey thing, and I'm doing a movie out in California. Had to do with, I forget what it was, doesn't matter. But these two Valley girls from California were serving an apprenticeship there. So the girl says to me, my character was Jack. She says, Uncle Jack, where'd you learn how to talk like that? I said, what do you mean? She says, like you talk. I said, no. She says, no, what do you, she says, you don't talk like that all the time, do you? I said, I think so. I said, wait a minute, you think I went to a school to learn how to talk like I talk? She said, yeah. I said, no, I talk like that all the time. She went hysterical. She was from the West Coast, and, the East Coast people, for
Yeah.
some reason, we have this. I said, look, it's like soup, whatever. It's a combination of whatever you put in comes out, from where you grew up and where you are and your heritage or whatever. She thought it was the coolest thing in the world. The way I was taught, I said, I could be, hey, how you doing? I could do that if I had to. But
I don't know how the accent really is in Providence. I would have to hear it, because we all think Boston right away, because
yeah,
we're
they
here in
have-
New Jersey.
Yeah, they have their own accent.
They
of
do,
course.
right?
Yeah, and it gets even worse as you go more north.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire, yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I'm
No, you
just
said it like
something like
New
that,
Hampshire,
you know.
yeah.
I'm a Jersey guy. I still have a little bit of an accent.
A little bit. A little bit. You got a little bit of an accent. Yeah, just a little twinge.
So you're growing up in
Yeah,
in Providence.
Yeah.
When did you get hit with the acting bug and you joined the world of pursuing
Well,
television?
I always loved watching the old black and white films. I was like James Cagney and George Raft and those guys. You remember a couple of those guys, right? Maybe.
James Cagney. I can't think of Mr. Raft.
No,
I think of the
Richard
Bowery
Widmark.
Boys,
Oh, yeah,
Dead End
yeah,
Kids.
Yeah, but I always liked that stuff, and I was an athlete. I was a big jock, but if you were an athlete and you were interested in the theater, it just didn't go for some reason.
Still don't.
I don't.
It might. I mean,
No.
I know what you're talking
So
about.
I goofed around a little bit in high school. As a matter of fact, I played Keely Smith in high school at a couple of performances, and a friend of mine played Louis Prima, and this girl was 6 feet tall, and I had her clothes, and Louis Prima and Keely Smith had this whole thing going. I'm confessing that I love you and all that.
Uh-oh,
stuff.
we just made some money.
We did.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
While
it.
everybody's watching the show, they can actually do a shout out. And when we shout out who just did that,
okay.
they give
Who
us a
is
little
that?
bit of cash. So let's see who it was who wants to say hello. Vince Minetti. All right. Hey, Vince Minetti, how you doing? Say hello to Vince Minetti.
Vince Minetti, how are you?
This is the legend right over here, Artie Pasquale. He's talking about where he's
Legend.
from. Pay attention and keep sending us money. Hi, Nick. How you doing? It's nice to see you. Everybody watching on Instagram, if you watch us on Facebook, you can make us some cash. So 99 cents. Okay, so we made 6 cents.
That's good.
We're
It's-
kicking ass.
It's not even a slice of pizza.
Cha-ching. And Angela's watching. Hi, Angela. We miss you. We're here with Artie Pasquale. And what was the name of the restaurant you said you saw him at? She's the one who said she
Oh,
saw
the
you.
High Lawn. Where is she?
You're right over here.
How are you? I'll see you maybe next week.
All right, we're going to be back there
knows?
again. Keep sending the cash. All right, let's get back to the story.
Yeah, so I got this little interest in, and then I went to I was a jock, and I didn't get to. But I went to college, and I got involved in it a little bit there, here and there. And I really didn't. And I was in coaching. I was a coach. I was a basketball coach, and I always say that coaching and teaching helped me as far as acting goes, because in a sense you're always performing. You know?
Right.
So
Got to capture everybody's attention.
so I got bits and pieces, little stuff, little theater stuff here and there, and eventually, of course, The Sopranos came along, and that knocked it out of the park.
All right, but that had to be a little bit of
Yeah.
a ways. I mean, did you
Yeah.
do plays? Did you do
I
theater?
did,
or
I did a
you-
couple of plays in college, but nothing great, like little homemade movies, that kind of stuff. But I always had the itch. But I was married, and I had 2 kids at the
Right.
time, so it was difficult. But
So
I
when
always
did
had
you-
the bug. I always had the bug for it.
When did you come to Jersey?
I came to Jersey in the 70s. Yeah, it's many moons ago.
All right. So then The Sopranos is what you feel is what really became your big break in the industry?
Oh yeah, it was a great break. You know, and to this day, there's a whole cult of people. It's unbelievable. And even COVID, now with COVID, it was rejuvenated because people were staying home. What are we going to do? Let's watch The Sopranos again. Kids that weren't allowed to watch it could watch it.
Right.
Kids who weren't even born were watching it. And it's just, it's an amazing,
There's
just an amazing
There's
experience.
books, there's tours, there's personal appearances. It seems like there's more Soprano stuff going on now than it did when it was actually airing on the show.
I mean, I was with a guy, I was walking down Mulberry Street. I'm sure your viewers are acquainted with Mulberry Street.
Sure.
And then a guy taps me on the shoulder in a Norwegian accent. Now, I can't do a Norwegian accent. It always comes out like a Spanish guy. But he says, you're Bert Gervasi, huh? Silvio strangled you. The guy was from Norway, you know? Then the guy says to me, not too long ago, how's Spencer doing? No, you don't know who Spencer was, right?
No.
Spencer was my dog. My dog. And The Sopranos, I had one scene that Spencer was my dog.
It's a famous dog.
Yeah, famous dog. Yeah, he was a pain in the ass doing the shot. But it's a great story, I'll tell you.
Isn't it unbelievable that you're getting recognized on the street down in Mulberry Street? So people who don't know, it's the Village in New York. It's the Italian neighborhood. It's where they have the Feast of San Gennaro and all the really good stuff. More money, $500 cent. And this is coming from Philadelphia. So here's a big fan of Artie's right now. He's in Philadelphia. They call him Vinny from South Philly. You probably know him because they have a lot to do with that Rim Cafe
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
Philadelphia,
yeah,
where the
yeah.
2 cheesesteak places
That's
are.
right. And we had the longest cheesesteak, and then they had the longest something recently. I forget what.
Cannoli.
It was. Cannoli, right?
These
the
are your
longest
friends.
cannoli. All right,
Yeah.
Vincenzo.
And then-
Say hello to the neighborhood.
And then there was the guy there, the heavyset guy who owns that restaurant,
in
who
the
made
corner,
the
in the
thing.
corner.
What's it called? Why can't the Rim Cafe,
That's
right?
the name of it. Yes.
Isn't that
Yes,
funny?
Yes.
So we all have the same friends. We just
Yeah.
don't always get to be with each other at the same time. So I had gone out there to do a show, and I went out and hung around with these guys at the 2 cheesesteak places, and they were very gracious and helped me with some publicity. But I guess you were down there working on a project, or you were doing promotions for a project.
No, we were doing Made in Chinatown. I think was the name of some. It
Oh.
was a crazy film that we did down there.
All right, so there's more films.
It's-
Let's finish up with The Sopranos before we get there, because
Yeah.
there's some important things we want to hit here, because they had Sopranos Con, they had guys in The Sopranos who sing, they have guys in The Sopranos who continue forward, and of course, he got recognized on the street by somebody from another country. That's how famous.
Even at SopranoCon, people would come up to you, you know, and you're signing. You say, hi, thank you for coming. You know, very appreciative. You would like a picture, and you sign a picture. And I said, where are you from? Oh, we're from Australia. Oh, Australia, you're visiting New York City? No, we're just here. We're just here for SopranoCon. They came from Australia. Somebody came from the Netherlands. They had like 10,000 people there in like a day or two, just for the Sopranos. I mean, it's outrageous. The whole thing it's hard to comprehend.
So, well, how did the role come about? Because naturally, everybody knows that when the show became such a hit, getting an audition could actually be really difficult. Maybe you had to know somebody.
Well, I did, and I befriended David Chase, and these writers, they keep these stories in their head. And I gave him a true story. As a matter of fact, it's not too many people know this. This is a scoop for the show.
All right, let's have
All
it.
right, the Artie Bucco character, I had something to do with that. It's the first episode of The Sopranos, where I had an aunt and uncle and living in Providence, Rhode Island. They had a little cafe on Admirals Avenue in Federal Hill, that Italian section. The wise, well, I shouldn't say the wise. I can't say wise.
Sure you
guys.
can.
I say wise. All right,
What are they going to do? Come over to my house?
Well, anyway,
They know I'm in the basement. He says, wise
those
guys.
influential guys in the neighborhood.
Friends.
They would come over, and my aunt would say, "What do you want?" They would say, "Anna, what do you have today? You have pasta and beans. What can you make for?" She'd go in the back and make. Anyway, to make a long story short, a guy used to go in there every day at 1:00, and they were going to shoot him in my aunt and uncle's restaurant. Now, this is the first episode of The Sopranos, and your viewers can check this out. So they had asked Tony Soprano in the show, but in real life, a guy suggested to my aunt and uncle, "Why don't you go on a vacation?" Because they didn't want to shoot the guy in the restaurant. They get a bad reputation. Nobody would go there. Who wants to go to their restaurants? You might get killed.
Right.
So my aunt and uncle never wanted to give in to these guys, because once you do that, you're indebted to them. So what do? As in The Sopranos, bingo, they blew my uncle's restaurant up as a favor to him. Right, so he can collect the insurance, right? And they shot the guy down the street instead they couldn't go in there. So I gave David Chase that story, and when he was being interviewed by Peter Bogdanovich, when you watch The Sopranos in another way, he said, "Where'd you get this idea of a guy blows up his best friend's restaurant?" He said, "Look, a friend of mine from Providence, Rhode Island, Artie Pasquale, gave me that story. It's a true story that happened to his aunt and uncle." So I think he kept Artie, because Artie Bucco, because I gave him the story. And Bucco is David Chase's grandfather's name in real life. And that's the Artie Bucco. Now, the first episode, I feel like I have some kind of a role, in the development of the
A
Artie
writing
Bucco
role,
character.
little credits.
So every time I see John Ventimiglia, who plays Artie Bucco, we give ourselves a big hug, because he survived the whole show.
Right.
You know? I mean, I didn't meet my demise until next to the last episode, but that's okay.
Well, that's not so bad at
No,
all,
no,
right?
that was a
So
great
you get
story.
on the show. Hi, Dawn. How you doing? Elaine, how are you? Anthony, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're going to take some
Who's
questions
that?
for
Elaine?
Artie.
It's Elaine Altamira. Oh my God, that's my sweetheart.
Oh, no kidding. Hi,
Yeah,
Elaine.
yeah.
How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. So how many episodes do you think you did on the
I just like
Sopranos?
about
Do
a
you know?
dozen. Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. It was good. It was good. And every episode was so well written. I remember I did my first episode. I had one word. One word, that's my line. Now here I am in $1,000. They had unbelievable money. I had a $1,000 suit. I had the ties. I had like patent leather shoes. You couldn't even see the pants of the shoes. So I'm playing cards, and my line was fold. And they said, "You know how to play." And I got the cigar. There's a guy just in charge of my cigar. This guy was, it's all just my cigar. So anyway, the dealer says to me, "And what are you doing? What are you going to do?" And I fold out of disgust. The scriptwriter comes over and says, "Artie, not I fold, just fold." Now, to me and you, what the hell's the difference?
Yeah,
I
right,
was just
right.
saying. But that's how strict they were when it came to.
Get your lines
Yeah, and
right.
I'm sure Gandolfini, he was privy to changing things around.
Yeah.
But that's what really made the show. The fact that the writing, and the fact that there were no pretty faces on. There were no George Clooney types. He was just guys that you see on the street.
Yeah.
And he was able to perceive.
Great cast.
Yeah, it was
Great
wonderful.
cast. For folks out there that didn't catch what Artie just said, and there's Susie Yango. She was supposed to come here tonight, but she's sitting at home watching the show. Susie, I told you to come. We got pizza, we got Artie, we got drinks, we got
I miss
wine.
you, Susie. I miss you.
Artie actually just said he had a $1,000 suit. Everybody had money, and he had a guy who was just in charge of the cigar.
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain that? I mean, I could if you want,
Yeah,
but I
I mean-
want to hear it from you. A guy who's there for the cigar.
Just the cigar. Because of continuity, when you shoot it from another camera, change the camera around, a one shot, a two shot, a three shot, whatever. That cigar has to be the same length every time. I mean, I almost got sick doing it. I mean, I didn't. Really.
I knew he was
And
gonna
this guy
say
was
that.
just there.
I almost got sick.
Another cigar, another cigar, another cigar. And people at home, they're always looking to see if they can trick you, saying, "How could that cigar be this short? All of a sudden, it was this long a second ago."
Yeah.
There are people that do that. I mean, I even did a movie not too long ago where I had to eat this fettuccine Alfredo. Well, I'm telling you, you talk about agita. That's all I had was for 2 days. I was just sick from eating fettuccine Alfredo. Everything has to be the same.
Yeah.
The rolls have to be in the same. But there was a person in charge of everything. If your shirt was unbuttoned and you took a break, there was somebody always taking pictures.
Taking pictures. There's a continuity person on all sets, and they nitpick 110% because they have to. Because let's suppose and he's smoking a cigar, and an hour later they do the same scene, and the cigar's all the way down by his fingers. When you watch the movie, it's going to look like it blinked and it popped and cut in half on its own. So they have somebody there to do it all day long. Well, let's suppose and you don't get your lines right and somebody else screws up their lines, you end up smoking a cigar 3 times in an hour. Different cigar, you can get sick.
And there are some scenes that maybe you can't do more than once. It's like when I got killed, that was a great scene.
Yeah, tell us about that. I mean,
that
is it do or die? You know, one shot,
Well,
you got to get it right. Did they bloody you up? I mean,
No. They asked me if I wanted to go through with it myself or physically. I said yes, no problem. It's where Steven Van Zandt, who played Silvio, I'm playing both sides, and he's coming to my house. He comes to my house, and I say, "Watch out for Spencer." Spencer was my dog. I said, "He's a little shit machine over here, right?" So we go inside, and he strangles me, but he broke the garrote on me like 2 or 3 or 4 times, and he's barrel-chested. I'm this tall guy. I said, "Look, Steven, just do it as tight as you can. And if it hurts, I'll let you know." And he did do it tight to the point where I really felt like I was being strangled. Like I really did. And there's this dog off camera, and they put catnip in my pants. And the trainer of the dog is going to release this dog at a certain time to come barking at me. But anyway, I go down, and now people call me up later because I got a great shot, and the camera is right here in front of my eye. And for some reason, my eye drooped. Because of the tightness of this garrote. So people call me up, my buddies call me up, and they say, "Hey, Artie, I love the way you drooped your eye, when they strangled you." Like I'm home the night before, in front of a mirror, practicing, rehearsing how I'm going to look when I get strangled the next day. How do you do that?
I don't know. I was just going to say, how do you rehearse dying?
No, you don't, right? So some things turn out lucky, but people said, "Oh, it was great the way you drooped your eye like that." And it's just you just got lucky, right?
Yeah.
And then I was getting the shit beat out of me when you do the scene, crashing into this, and this dog was getting very annoying. So I said, "Will you get this fucking dog off me?" So the trainer says, "Don't yell at Iggy like that." Iggy was their dog's name. I said, "Iggy, I'm getting the shit beat out of me. You're worrying about Iggy." Iggy probably got paid more money than I did for that scene, but it wasn't. It was a very difficult scene, considered to be one of the better death scenes of The Sopranos.
Yes, that's what you said. It's one of the better death scenes in The Sopranos than most. That's great.
I met my demise a number of times.
You could actually tell people the rest of your life. Let me tell you, The Sopranos was a great show, but the way they killed me, nobody dies like me. You see the way my face drooped?
That's right.
I had catnip in my pants.
It was like this. It was great.
I rehearsed for days before they did
it. Some things happened by mistake. I was playing cards in one scene, and just by accident, there was one chip. I was playing Joe Ganascoli. He was in part of it, and I think Christopher did. So one chip was accidentally left in the pot. So I took it upon myself to flip the chip over, like saying, "Here, take this too, you son of a bitch," So I flip it over. A friend of mine who I played cards with, Artie.
We got some more cases. That's Dawn. We got to do a nice shout out to Dawn. You ready?
Okay.
Dawn. Say hello to Artie.
Don't go away. You've been good to me. Is that how the song goes?
Something like that.
Yeah,
we should know, right?
Yeah.
We're from the area.
Yeah.
How does it go?
I don't know. Dawn.
We just went over to the Four Seasons somehow.
Yeah.
Dawn Kaltenbach Hale. Thank you so much for the cash. We appreciate it. Artie says hello. I hope you're enjoying the story of how he got strangled, killed, and mauled by catnip, and rehearsed for it.
And then just to conclude that silly story.
Yes.
There was one chip left in the middle of the table, so I flipped it over to him, like, "Take this too, you son of a bitch." So a couple of friends of mine called me up. "Artie, you're an old card player. I love the way you left that one chip in there." Like I left it intentionally. No, but they kept it, So some things happen just by, as you've done.
So that was like an improv?
Yeah, it was an improv.
Nice.
And they kept it, so you never know what they're going to keep.
It's great that you got to work on this incredible series. It's still Well, as you know, now it's trying to be replicated in a lot of different formats.
Yeah,
So
some
af-
are good and some are bad, you know. Unfortunately, everybody wants to copy the Sopranos, but they can never equal that.
No.
You know, I don't think so.
I was doing some stuff, but I do everything from the point of view of comedy. I grew up as an actor, but I knew I would make a better living in where I was in the world doing jokes. And I love what I do. I've been doing stand-up now 30 years, and every time I got a part in a movie, every time I got a part on a TV show, it's because they saw me performing.
Yeah, well, you got a great reputation and people love it, so just keep doing it.
I'm going to keep
You
on
people
doing
out
it.
there, before I forget, anytime you see Mike Marino is going to be wherever he's going to be, you go there. Go
And
there.
that's
You'll have
coming
you'll
from
have-
Artie. You got
you'll
no
have
choice.
A great show.
You don't come to my show, he's
It's true.
gonna get the catnip. So after The Sopranos, how many other shows have you been working on? Did it start to help you a lot?
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot, especially with different events. You know, like I'm doing a couple of golf things recent in the near future, but I'm not one of these guys that always wants the money. You know, some people want money, whatever. I'm blessed being on the show. I'm appreciative of being on the show. But I've done a number of movies since then. You know, I just did this Mob King thing.
Yes, okay, let's go there because I know Ciro's probably watching, a lot of those cats out there in Florida. I'm friends with Ciro. I was in the project. Thank you so much, Ciro, for putting me in Silent Partners, which is another project that they had seen me doing stand-up, and of course, Gary Pastore helped me get on that project, and that's how I met Bruce Sosha. That's how I met some of those guys. And what was really great for me is while we were working during the day doing the project, that they would come and see me do stand-up at night.
Oh, that's nice.
You know,
That's
put it all
nice.
together,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
then I would acknowledge them from stage. I
Yeah.
enjoy doing that. Hey, Artie Pasquale's here, ladies and gentlemen, and put the camera
That's
on you.
great, and the
stuff like
person
that.
appreciates it when you do that.
Yeah.
Really, it was really nice. Yeah, I did. Well, I did a bunch of films. I just did one in Texas called Old Man Jackson. It's a comedy. I did one called Camp Joy. I did about 3 or 4 recently, in a matter of 2 years. So it was pretty good for me
That's a lot.
last couple of years. But Mob King, you know, initially it was, you know, they weren't sure as to where they were going to go, how it was going to go, and I have to give Ciro and his group a lot of credit because they put this thing together, and they were determined to do it, and they persevered, and it came out pretty good. You know, it came out pretty good.
So you have a sizable role in Mob King?
Yeah.
They
Very
didn't
good
kill
role.
you in this one?
Well, I can't tell you what happens because it's on. If you go to what do you call it? Prime, Amazon Prime. You can see it tonight if you want to watch it. But I can't.
Is that right?
Yeah, but I can't tell you what happened.
Okay, so there's a lot of people jumping on right now, so let's do this. Mob King, obviously, is a mob movie because it says Mob King in the title.
Yeah.
It premiered, I'd say, about maybe a month ago in Miami.
In Fort Lauderdale, the Hard Rock Hotel.
Right.
Fort Lauderdale.
I was supposed to be there. I was performing there the week before, and I couldn't make it. I wanted to come down there. I got Ciro on my podcast and everything. It was really cool because, ladies and gentlemen, he's just not a producer and a writer and a director and the star of it, but the guy, his resume is jail time. So it's pretty amazing that this guy does, I don't know, 20 years in prison, comes out, and all of a sudden now he's a movie star. I call him 007.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Right? But Artie is in Mob King, and I know there's a lot of people want to hear that right now because I could see you writing in. So, Anthony, he already said Mob King was excellent. Thanks you for watching. Robert Catalano, thank you for watching. He's also one of my sponsors. He owns an Italian restaurant in Ohio. I'm blanking on it. It'll come to me. But Robert, say it, and we'll plug it out on the show again. Let's see if somebody else is saying something. So Mob King you could watch now on Amazon Prime. Thank you, Laura, Amazon Prime. Thank you, Anthony. These are all people that want to watch you in Mob King. So
I appreciate it. Give it a try. Give it a try. You know.
thank you so much. Here comes some more money. I appreciate you, Anthony. And go ahead and watch Mob King. Say hello to Anthony.
Hello, Anthony.
Ponte.
Thank you, Anthony Ponte. Ponte or Ponte?
Ponte. Anthony, the next time you come to one of my shows, I'll make sure that Artie's there, and he'll give you a nice handshake, a hello, and maybe an autograph. It's up to him. Speaking of
Absolutely.
autographs,
Absolutely.
oh, more money. Keep on sending that cash. Thank you. Love Mob King, says Elaine. So I guess they were all watching this show. See, it's always great to plug somebody else's project, even if I'm not part
Elaine
of it,
is my
because you never
biggest.
know.
Elaine's my biggest fan.
You have this other fan that writes every once in a
Uh-oh,
while.
Who is it? Is it?
She has a book, maybe? Is it called Chasing James
Oh,
Gandolfini?
yeah, that's
Is this your
Donna,
friend?
Donna
Donna Blues. Who's
Donna
that?
Blues. She's a friend. She's a friend that has this fascination with James Gandolfini, and she's written a book having to do with her life, more or less. And she's been on a few shows here.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But she's
I see her promote you.
very
and-
dedicated. Yeah, I thank her very much for doing that. Yeah.
So now you're doing all these great movies. You got a great project going on. Handsome guy, doing your thing.
Well-
Tell me this story about our mutual friend down on the Jersey Shore. Did you want to spill
Who's
that?
Oh,
Debbie.
Debbie. We were just, matter of fact, Debbie was at the Mob King premiere.
She went to Florida?
Yeah, she
No
went to
kidding.
Florida
Wow.
by herself, and she told me this story that she had a car. I don't think she ever drove it, or maybe she drove it very little because it was a clutch, and that kind of thing. Anyway, it was.
Is it called a clutch anymore?
beautiful.
Cash, thank you so much. Who's sending it in? Anthony, Jimmy, come up my restaurant all the time. Oh, James Gandolfini came to your restaurant. Who are we talking to? Anthony D. Ponte. Where's your restaurant? Why don't we come? Me and Artie will come. I love when people do
Yeah,
this.
I heard the veal piccata is very good.
Yeah. Well, come on, man. Are we stagnant? Where's your restaurant?
I guess not. He just went out of business.
It was in Tribeca. Do you know this gentleman?
I don't know. Well, Ponte's was remember a famous restaurant that I used to go to years ago. I don't know if it's the same family.
Well, thanks,
it was
Anthony.
A great, famous restaurant.
We appreciate you. Thanks for watching the podcast. Thanks for watching the celebrity over here and all these great projects. And thank you for tuning in to Mob King and watching the show tonight. If you ever want us to come down to Tribeca, I'll come.
Yeah,
He'll
it's
go
the
down to
same-
Little Italy. They love him down there,
Yeah.
especially the people from another country. It was called Ponte's.
Yeah.
What are you, we're a bunch of fucking idiots over here. What's
So
the name of Anthony?
getting back to Debbie's story,
Wait a minute, let's set her up real quick. Debbie DeLisa.
is the manager, right? She used to be the owner and manager.
She don't own it no more?
I don't think so. But anyway, she's been there for a long time. The Wonder Bar in Asbury Park. Go down and support her. She works her tail off, and she has a good thing going. She takes care of. She has that yakety
dogs.
dogs, and she takes care of about 30 or 40 cats. And really, in this like special place, I don't know where it is, but she's really into animal rights and all that other stuff. And she puts on a good show. She's not a performer. She has a lot of great performers going.
She has an incredible, famous place in Asbury Park, right across the street from the boardwalk. It's called the Wonder Bar, down the block from the Stone Pony,
Right.
across the street from the Paramount, which is across the street from, what's the other big place?
McClune's place there.
Well,
yeah.
McClune's.
Yeah, the supper
McClune's
club.
used to be Howard Johnson's. I'm thinking of the big 3,000-seat theater. I think a lot of this stuff is still closed. Anyway, Convention Hall.
Convention
Hall.
yeah.
That's Asbury Park. Very famous town, known for a guy, his name is Bruce Springsteen.
And Springsteen used to hang with Debbie in the Wonder Bar.
Debbie's
quite,
husband.
Quite often.
And all those cats.
Yeah.
So, go
As a
ahead.
matter of fact, Lance Larson, famous person, was just there recently. We saw him recently.
Wasn't they married?
I don't know if they were married, but they were together,
together.
for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a
So
lot of-
anyway, Debbie had a car, and she wanted to raffle it off a fundraiser, and she had Bruce Springsteen sign it. So she said, "This is great, right?" So, but first he had sent her he gave her free tickets for his performance in Germany. So she comes back from Germany. Anyway, he signs the car, the glove compartment and the fender. So she wants to get the car cleaned up. She takes the car to be detailed. And she said, these are her words. She said, some Mexican guy thought it was graffiti. And he takes all of the Bruce Springsteen signature off. And she said, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But being a good sport, Bruce said, I'll do it again for you. And so I don't know where the car is now and where they're gonna raffle it off, but that was pretty funny. I thought I could see this guy, what is this on my car? You know,
Holy
let me
shit.
help her out, take this, who's this name here? He probably thought it was.
Could you imagine? This is the worst graffiti I've ever seen. We better get some wax and get that off. Imagine going to Debbie, hey, we clean your car good, man, no graffiti. That's the best thing I could do. That's my Providence, Rhode Island accent. This woman owns an incredible club. It's such a nostalgic thing. I was never really extremely familiar with Asbury Park, but in 2006, Steve Travelese from 101.5 on the radio, he and I became friends, and he said, you know, you could be like this Bruce Springsteen of stand-up comedy. And I says, oh, that's a great title, and hopefully someday I can get to that level. And he said, why don't you rent the Paramount Theater and shoot a show in there? And I'm like, that theater's been condemned for 20 years.
Yeah.
It was closed for 20 years before they unchained that.
I shot a couple of movies in there recently.
Right?
Yeah.
It's creepy
They
in there.
don't know
The
what
ceiling's
to do with it.
falling in.
It's a shame. It's like a white elephant, they say, whatever.
I don't get. But anyway, I ended up doing a show in there, and I was hoping I would get 300 people. Well, much to my surprise, 1,700 people came, and that's when I met Debbie, and I met all the people in Asbury Park, and they all said, hey, listen, we have restaurants in the area. Would you mind making an announcement that your after party is next door? And I'm like, sure. And you should have seen the line hit the Wonder Bar. Because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah. It's a hot place now. Jersey Shore is like the music capital of New Jersey, it seems. And
It might almost be the capital of the world as far as
not too
I
much
know.
up here, but there's always something going on.
Here's another letter from your fan.
Who is this? Who's this? Ponte?
They even filmed a portion of The Sopranos at my restaurant. Nancy Sinatra was there. She was singing to all the wise guys at the tables during the episode.
Yeah, this is Ponte's restaurant in Manhattan. I'm guaranteed. Famous place.
Anthony!
I used to go there.
We're coming. Is it still open? Thank you for the money. Thank you for the cheer. Thank you for watching the show. I appreciate that. I think we need to come down there and have a little dinner. We'll bring our stories. He says, yeah, all right, let's do this.
Tell Tony the nose to let us in.
Come on now. Who's working the door? We'll come in the back door through the kitchen. You know what? We'll do a show there. He'll sit there, sign autographs, talk about his getting killed, and his face is drooping, and the shit that was in his pocket, so the dog would lick it. And I'll crack a couple of jokes, and we'll do it all for a bowl of fettuccine, and a cigar. We'll smoke the cigar. We'll shrink it.
Here we go.
We closed in 2014. And you know what? Leave us the fuck alone.
I
didn't know that.
It's not... It was a famous place. I used to go there.
We closed in 2014 and built condominiums. Oh.
Well, I don't know.
Wow.
It was a famous place. It was a great place, though. You had your history.
Good for you, Anthony.
Unfortunately, we can't come to visit your condominium.
Yeah, well, what are we going to do? Is there a lobby? We could do a show in the lobby. We'll call it the lobby.
Yeah, Ponte's was here, we would call it. You know, before we go, I brought something I wanted to see. I don't know if you
I love when people bring me gifts.
I don't want to miss out. I don't want
He
you
brought
to miss.
this gift. He was going to give it to me before we recorded. I said, could we do this on camera?
right.
So I don't even know what's in here.
I don't know. I think you'll appreciate it.
I
I
appreciate
don't give
any
this to
gift.
everybody.
Oh, my God.
I'll tell
Here
you
we
a
go.
story about this, too.
There's a story behind it, and it comes in a nice cushion.
See, I don't know if you can see this.
The eye's dripping.
Can they see it here?
Yes, let's do it.
How can you see it?
Look at my gift for my wall of fame. I can't wait to put this up.
It says, you mess with Marino, you sleep with the fishes.
Oh, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Get it close up. Get it close up. Look how lucky. I'm the luckiest guy in the world, man. I just got an autograph on my own show from a celebrity.
Celebrity.
Look at that.
You're
And
funny.
look at Stevie.
Yeah.
You mess with Marino, you sleep with the fishes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, man.
It's all right.
Thank
you.
you.
Deserve it.
Look at that. This is worth millions of dollars. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to auction this off. I'm not kidding. I would never.
You
Let's
know,
put
I
it back
brought-
in his sleeve. I don't want nothing to
I brought
happen.
this
Thank
to
you
a
so
friend
much.
of mine's restaurant, and I put, and he was a big Soprano fan, and I put "Food to Die For" on it. You know, kind of a cute little expression. So he puts it up on the wall, and this elderly woman sitting there, and it's right here in front of her, and she's eating, and she's looking at my death scene, and she calls him over, and she says, "Excuse me, sir, but I'm having a little trouble eating my food here, looking at this picture. Can you put it someplace else?" And eventually he did, but he went, I said, "Well, you don't put that in the middle of a nice restaurant. You put it in your office or something like that." So now I'm in the men's room at this restaurant with this picture. So whenever you go to take a leak, you got to look at me. See? But only a few people. But it's a great picture anyway. It's a great shot.
You know,
they caught my eye. You know, the eye. That's
The drooping eye.
the droop.
In showbiz, to actually earn a living is very difficult. But to get a long-lasting, nostalgic role or scene in anything so iconic like The Sopranos is almost like winning the lottery. So he won the lottery, and now I got a picture of him winning the lottery. I love it, man. Thank
Lucky
you so
guy.
much.
It's all
Thank
right.
you so
it's all
much.
right.
And you're going to keep on growing and growing. So what's in the hopper for you now?
Maybe you can find a spot in your museum here for it.
Yes. Well, you got to get you're going to get you to sign the wall.
Yeah, it's too
I'll
bad.
put it
It's
on the
too
wall
bad your
down here.
viewers can't see. This is really I've never been in a place like this. It's unbelievable.
That's why we-
actually has his table and chairs from your grandmother. or your
Grandma.
mother? From your
Grandma.
grandmother. He has a
Upstairs is
refrigerator here
great-grandma.
at General Electric. I think the refrigerator goes back to what, to the 30s or 40s,
40s.
and it works.
It does.
And he took out. No, I was just talking today about my ice machine's not working. He took out the old crank of the ice.
Yes.
The ice tray.
The ice trays.
with the crank on
They're
it.
metal ice trays from the 1940s. There's 3 of them. They still work. It brings back memories. That's in a way where I come up with the comedy that I come up with. See, because right now, there's Camerari's Zeppeli mix, and he's the guy who did this. And
is
you know
great.
what, Joe?
This is
I'm
a-
going to give a bag of your Zeppeli mix to Artie right now on the
Oh,
show.
great. And I'm going to give it to Elaine because I know she loves to cook. She has no excuses. You just put this in a pan, I guess, right?
No, you boil it in oil.
You boil. Oh, you have to boil
Like they
it.
do when you go to the
Oh,
actual
okay.
feast.
All right.
It comes out with a bunch of different, what the Americans call Italian donuts. Then you shake them with powdered sugar, and they're delicious. You can get them at CamerariZeppeliMix.com. Use promo code Mike Marino. You'll get yourself 15% off. Joe, is that okay for me to plug it that way? Yup, you just did. And now it's being held in the hands of a celebrity, and it's
There it
going
is.
home to his house.
Touched by a soprano.
He's been touched by a soprano. He's been choked by a soprano. The best choking on any soprano scene.
That's true.
He was choked so good his eye drooped.
The eye.
I love
It's
this.
the eye.
How much fun is this, right?
It's great. It's great. I mean, yeah, I'm just looking around. This is like, you have flexible flyers, what are they, sleds up in the ceiling
sleds.
here. You got it all. You've got it all. It's just really tremendous.
Well, I love antiques. I love nostalgia. I love people. I love doing all kinds of different things. We were having some pizza before we talked tonight. The pizza was brought to you tonight, to us, by Max's Pizza, which is on Park Avenue, right here in Scotch Plains. And I had a friend come down here tonight, and she brought me some T-shirts. So we're going to do a quick plug for her business, because I called her today because, dude, I'm eating too much pasta.
Yeah.
And the older I get, I can't
Well-
digest it anymore. So I want to get
You want to
healthy.
cut down on the pasta?
Yeah.
Have some of this stuff. This stuff will take
Yeah.
This will neutralize the pasta. He'll give you the coccarellas. Yeah.
You're going to have to explain cockadell.
Well, it's just,
Not everybody speaks Italian.
if you eat too much of the wrong food, you get the poops. How's that? How's
Yeah,
that sound?
you could say you get the shits.
Oh, okay.
Look how clean, you get the poops.
Get
Now you get the shits.
Let's
One
see
of the
what-
greatest
Let's see what you got here.
trainers in all of New Jersey, I'm going to say, came by to say hello tonight because I want to order some food. She has food now, and she's a personal trainer. Wow, look at this shirt. Is this long sleeve? I wonder why she gave it to me for free. It's summer, and she gave me long sleeve. She knows I'm not going to be able to wear it.
Oh, it's nice.
Boom. How was that, huh?
Nice. What does that say?
I don't know.
Stern?
Stern. Does it say Stern?
Stern, right? Stern Fitness.
There she is. That's her body right there,
Wear
where
this shirt,
boxers
it'll
love.
make you very stern.
Yes. If you wear this shirt, you're going to get stern. And if you eat her food, you'll get real stern.
Yeah.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Stern Fitness. Say hello on the internet. She's sitting here right now. We actually allow people to come down the basement. We're not doing that COVID cleansing thing anymore. What's your number? How could they get you on the internet?
Sternfitness.net.
Sternfitness.net. This is Lori Sternberg.
Yeah.
Sternberg. Nice Italian name.
Sternbergo it used to be.
I mean, if I'm going to lift weights, I'm going with a Sternberg. Sternberg. Jewish people are the best when it comes to going to the gym.
Each other.
Yeah. Are you going to work out? Not today. Hey, we got a mutual friend writing into the show right now. Say hello to Joe Cernio, who's an actor that we all know from Asbury Park.
And
Remember
Joe
Joe, right?
Cernio, this is interesting you brought that up. He's one of my closest friends. I almost
that right?
feel like like he's an adopted son. He's a great actor. He's got I think the title is Loved. I don't want to screw up the title. It's a short, an award-winning short that it's all over the place. And he's in the process of doing a feature film. But in Loved, you talked about Diane Raver. Her son played in this movie that he just did, and he was a very good actor.
Love you
Joe's
too,
great.
Joe.
Joe is great.
Joe,
Joe
why
is
don't you
great.
come on the podcast, man? Come down the basement and hang out. And I'll make that happen for you. I'm coming down Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. I'm going over to the Wonder Bar to interview Debbie. And then I'm going to interview Vinny Mad Dog Lopez, who I've known for a very long time. I love this guy very, very much. The original drummer on the first 3 albums of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. And he's also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, great guy too. Yeah.
Look, he's Joe Cernio. I want to get sterned. I want to get sterned too. Ka-chang!
When are you going to be there?
This Thursday at 3 o'clock. You want to come down?
No, I'm coming down Friday though, but I can't. I'd love to come down. But
I have a show in Seaside Thursday night, which is sold out, so I'm not going to plug the show. But from there, I'm going to go to Debbie DeLisa at the Wonder Bar. I'm going to get her interview. I'm hoping to get Vinny Mad Dog Lopez. Joe, I'd like to get you on the show. We can make that happen. I believe I still do have your number, and this is going to lead me into getting. I want to get some of the guys from the E Street Band. I know the guys from the E Street Band because I was hosting Light of Day.
Oh, okay.
But some time ago, I became friends with Vinny Lopez. Vinny comes to all my shows. They had a comedy roast. I was the guy who roasted the shit out of him. And of course, you know, he's a legend, quite honestly.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
in
he
the
is.
Street Band.
He is.
And he introduced me to everybody. And the one year I was supposed to introduce Bruce Springsteen, he didn't come. That's a true story. I always tell the truth. You son of a bitch. I had this whole intro planned and everything. And he didn't come. And somebody else, I don't know, played the songs. And, you know, I've done shows with Vinny Pastore when he was singing. And a couple of the cats like that. So it's all great that we all know each other. We get along and we have fun.
Vinny
Hopefully-
Pastore, as a matter of fact, if you don't mind me saying,
Sure.
maybe the most gratifying thing I've done in any of this entertainment was a play that he wrote and directed, and we did it downtown at a small theater, Crane Theater, small theater, and I played Vinny's father. And it was a young guy. It was just me and one other guy. He was playing he was Vinny as a young person, and his father evidently was a bookmaker. I'm not saying anything that Vinny would be upset with, because his father was a bookmaker. He mistreated his mother. I guess, you know, make a long story short, it was called Mama's Chair, and it was absolutely gratifying. I'll give a plug for Vinny anyway. Vinny's a good guy. Good guy. He's not just a good actor. He's a good director.
Vinny Pastore, I know a long time ago from doing live events, and one of the first, I'd say, biggest films I ever did was a movie called Pizza with Bullets. And I remember going to the casting session because the director said, I'm going to put you in this movie. He saw me doing stand-up at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. I went down to the casting session and I says, look at me, man, I'm finally going to get to play a mobster. I've never played a mobster. I'm finally going to be a mobster. And I walk in the door, you see all these dark-haired guys, dark eyes, everybody look like they're going to kill each other. And the casting director says, looks at me and she goes, no, you're here on the wrong day. We're looking at the police officers tomorrow. I said, I'm not here to read for a police officer. They told me to come down today. The director told me come today. No, you got the wrong day. Then the director come walking in the room and goes, what's going on? And I says, I told him I'm here to read for the mobsters. He goes, you're not here to read for anybody. We gave you the role. And I said, see, to the casting director, I'm going to play one of the mobsters. She goes, no, you're playing the priest. And then one of the greatest scenes I think I've ever done in my entire life was me, Vinnie Pastore, and Talia Shire. I was shitting in my pants. I was petrified. Vinny plays this guy. He's in a coma, and she's trying to wake him up. So she says to the priest to come in. Naturally, it's a comedy, and I was eating food, and she goes, you know, the kitchen's over there, whatever the jokes were. And I remember when the day was over, and Talia Shire comes over to me and says, you're the comedian, right? And I said, yeah. She goes, am I being funny in this scene? And I go, could you wait right here? I need to call my brother. He's never going to believe I'm talking to you. I go, I'm with Adrian. Adrian from Rocky.
Yo, Adrian.
Oh, we had such a good time. And then you end up working with these people again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because of the great relationships that you had. Got to do another quick shout out to Anthony DiPonte. He's saying Michael Sullivan did all the security for the Sopranos. He's his lifelong friend. All right.
Nice. I want to give a shout out to this young aspiring Brazilian actress. I think she's watching. Ana Tunio.
Where is she?
She's a young actress. Where is she?
No,
Right
is she
now?
here?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I told her I was going to be on. She's going to be a good actress.
Well, hey,
Oh, she is a
good
good
luck
actress.
in your career. Stay close with your
Anyway.
friends because you never know who's going to help you and what's going on in the
right.
world.
But don't go to Ponte's because they've been closed.
They're condominiums now.
Yeah, unless you're looking for some place to live. You know. What do you
He said more money. Thank you, Anthony. He loves your jokes. He owns Brennan and Carr famous roast beef place in Brooklyn.
Oh,
Oh, you know about it?
no. Roast beef in Brooklyn?
You could say it.
Of course, Brennan. What are you nuts? I knew that the whole time.
Well, hey, listen, we have a studio audience tonight. One person is into the gym and not eating any pizza. There's another guy who walked in off the street. We don't even know who he is. He's from a podcast called You Know I'm Right, where right now he's proven that he's right. What was it?
He owns Brennan and Cars in Brooklyn.
Who does?
Anthony, right?
Anthony Ponte?
Ponte. Yeah.
Anthony! Who's in the peanut gallery? Huh? Another great interview. Artie, thank you. Okay,
Who was that from?
I don't know. Well, Vinny is from Philadelphia. He's part of that
Oh,
crew.
Vinny, yeah.
Alyssa
okay.
Pizzelles is an actress in New York City. She's phenomenal. And Anthony Ponte, he owns Brennan and Carr, famous roast beef. You son of a bitch. Famous roast
Not
beef
you,
place
Anthony.
in Brooklyn. Well, Anthony, I think Artie and I would like to come to Brooklyn. And we'll eat. We'll eat there. At the steakhouse. And we'll bring this guy because he knows everything about everything.
What are the condominiums called? Ponte's condos? What's it called? Ponte's
Condo alla
Ponte's
Ponte.
condos by the river.
Condo alla Ponte. Hey, listen, folks, we're having a lot of fun, and we got to get going. Artie, would you please tell everybody where they can find you on the
know-
internet and where they could take a look at your work?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get rid of people. Never mind, find me. I'm trying to hide some people.
Imagine that long time
Anyway,
ago you told an Italian guy, here's how you find me. Hey. If you would, please.
You know, I'm on Facebook. If you politely ask to be a friend, that's what it's called now, right? You have to be a friend. You want to friend me.
Yeah, can you friend me?
Yeah,
Can you follow me?
can
You got to follow
Friend
him.
me. And the guy told me the other day, Artie, you don't never check my wall. I said, what do you mean your wall? What, in your garage? Would you paint it? I don't know. What are you talking about? Your wall. You know, but I didn't realize that we all have you have a wall.
Yeah.
You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, Artie P, you can email me, artiep21 at verizon.net, artiep21 at verizon.net, or go to Facebook and we can develop a relationship. You never know.
Please follow Artie and
never
watch
know.
his work and tune into where they could probably find the rerun of one of the most incredible murder scenes on any television show
Yeah, it
in
was
the
called
history of television.
The Blue Comet. It was next to the last episode. The Blue Comet was the actual episode. So you don't have to watch the whole show. You can just go to my episode.
That's called the Blue Comet?
The Blue Comet, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, it was next to the last episode, so I lasted a while.
Yeah. It's great.
Anyway.
That's great.
And before you sign off, I want to say it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for being,
absolutely,
for having
man.
me here. And you folks out there, follow Mike no matter where he is for his podcast, as well as if he's in a town near you or even far away from you. Give it a shot. He puts on a great, great show. And I think I'm going to go see him. I'm pretty sure he's going to be at the Cutting Room.
Yeah.
I think in August with Steve Maglio, who I just saw recently at the Cutting Room. So you get a double header. When is that? The 24th?
You got even more fans watching. Johnny Salami. Look at, I'm watching from
Johnny.
the Tiki Bar.
Johnny Salami.
He's at the Tiki Bar every Tuesday night. That's why you don't come here no more.
Oh,
He's
all
still
right.
down on the Jersey Shore in Point Pleasant. I love this.
He's
Keep
a-
on watching.
He's a character, Johnny.
He
Johnny,
is.
my man, how you doing?
Hey, well, before we go, I just
Yeah.
read this. Mob King, Old Man Jackson, Coco,
Coco, yeah.
Camp
that's
Joy.
That's around Camp Joy.
Families Feud,
Family's Feuds.
Once a Week for Life.
One.
What are these?
These are movies that I just recently did or I'm in the process of doing.
It's a lot of projects. I
Yeah.
like the title Families Feud.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Is that a comedy?
Yeah, very
It's a
comedy.
Are you going to be Long Beach Island in the next few weeks?
You or me?
You,
No, I'm going to
Long
be
Beach Island. Oh, yes. Wait a minute.
Long Beach Island?
Maybe. Who you asking? Look, now they're writing to other people. I love Johnny Salami.
He's a character. There was two Johnny Salamis. I know Johnny Salami from up here and another Johnny Salami from Seagirt.
There's a
area.
lot of salami.
Yeah, it's a lot of
They're all going to Stern Fitness.
yeah.
Do a shout out, if you would, to Sharon Pfeiffer from Artie Pasquale.
How you doing, Sharon? Thanks for tuning in. A lot of fun here. If you
I
ever want
think
these Zapelas, once again, we're plugging the Zapelas. These are Marino Zapelas.
yes, Joe Camareri's.
Sure.
I don't own any Zapelas. Anthony, yes, I am at the Surflight Theater on July 23rd, and that is in Long Beach Island, or us Jersey people call Beach Haven. Beach Haven. I'm going to a 500-seat theater in Beach Haven on July 23rd, but this Thursday night, I'm at the Italian American Club in Seaside. It only seats 100.
Oh,
I told you before, I'll do anything. Where are we going? I will be at the Cutting Room. The Cutting Room, all right? So then you get to meet Artie Pasquale in person. That's the Cutting Room. When am I playing there?
I think it's August 24th.
August 17th.
17th, is it?
August 17th. Oh, so this is where we're going to find Artie Pasquale on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, if you would, Artie, tell everybody that they need to follow, they need to watch your work. Let them know where it's at.
Just go to Facebook and I'll let you know everything, okay? Or if you want to email me to make it more personal, artiep21 at verizon.net.
Artie
And
P,
I'll try
21.
and I will try to befriend you, as you say.
Befriend you.
I think that's the correct terminology.
Yes, I'm going to implement all of this stuff. It's going to be here forever.
On my wall.
We're going to be signing the wall. We're going to be taking pictures. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on tour all this week, next week, while I'm here in the great state of New Jersey. So the show has been sold out this week, but on July 22nd, I'll be at the Villa Roma in Callicoon, New York. That's
Wow.
the Catskills.
Wow.
The old school
The
Catskills.
Borscht Belt.
The
they used to
Borscht
call
Belt,
it, right?
right? Now they call it Borscht. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
And then July 26th, I will be at Botagra, and that's in Hawthorne, New Jersey.
Yeah, it's a big place, big place. It's a jumping place.
I hope you'll come.
Yeah,
I think
lot
Nick is going to come, and a bunch of the old school cats are going to be there. We'll have some fun.
That's under the tent or under the stars?
I'm
Where you
under the
gonna-
tent. Hopefully it won't rain so we could be under the stars, and hopefully we won't have to cut through Patterson. We're going to go all the way around. If I go through Patterson, I'm never going to make it to the show. And then on July 28th, I will be in New Hampshire at a place called the Portside Opera House. I don't even know where I'm performing anymore. That's in New Hampshire. Go to MikeMarino.net for further information. And of course, on August 17, we will all be in New York City at the Cutting Room. I'm working with a guy named Stephen Maglio. He's a mutual friend. This
Yeah,
guy's an
very good.
unbelievable singer, great performer.
He does
We're
a
gonna have-
big band with Sinatra. He's a Sinatra with a band, with 15-piece band. Very good.
Yes, and I get to be his opening act. We're going to have a lot of fun. And then from there, I'm going to go to New Brunswick to perform in the Stress Factory on August 18 and 19. From there, I want you guys just to go to MikeMarino.net and stay in touch. All right, listen, we got to get going. Let's do a big shout out to my producer for making this show happen every single Tuesday night. Her name is Tatiana Blue Shell. If you want to write to her because you think you'd make a great guest on this show, write to MikeMarinoEntertainment@gmail.com. You want to sponsor one of the shows, like my Zapala Mix guy or a couple of these Pizza Wise guys, go to Mike Marino Live.
Well, if you're looking for a condominium, Ponte's Condominium, don't forget that. I'm sorry, Mike.
I love the fact July 28th is my 65th birthday. This guy, Anthony, he won't leave us alone. Would you open up a restaurant again, please, so we can get more jokes? That's hilarious. All right, we got to get going. Let's remember, make America Italian again, okay? You know the motto. You don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my broadcasts? By saying the same thing with my guest. Don't take no shit from nobody.
Okay,
Ready?
no problem.
Let's go. Don't take, you can say it together. Ready?
Don't
take no shit from nobody. Good night, everybody. And we're out. Thank you, buddy. Ow. Hey, folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.